getting my messages on. I have do not disturb on. So hopefully like I am all set, right? So we keep our volume the whole time. All right.
Unlike regular old hoodies, the bearskin hoodie is actually...
Okay. Today, guys, we are going to talk about something that I see come up quite a bit, and it is your donkey does great one day, and then the next it does not. So then trying to figure out why that might be. But before we jump in, I want to say thank you to all of our members out there. We've been having new members jump on or jump in to be part of our group, and I just think it's amazing that you guys are coming, you're showing up, you're signing up for the memberships. We have multiple different tiers depending on what you're looking for. So today, let's jump into the topic, right? So what happens when yesterday your donkey trusted you and they did awesome, and then today they don't? And there's a few different scenarios that I see come up, and they are like absolutely contrasting. Now, I have my notes, guys, because I'm the type A personality, right? Now, if you guys don't know, I'm going to be doing clinics for Ty Evans at his Mule Week. So if you haven't signed up for that, totally get signed up. It's in Utah. I think it's Spring City, Utah. And so that's part of the reason I decided to do these go lives is I just wanted to get more comfortable with public speaking because I get really nervous about it, guys. I don't know how you are. So we're going to talk about these different contrasting situations that come up. Mountain Built, yay, I'm glad you're here with us. And then we will also talk about just some variable things that I see come up. So the first one is, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. You will do great, thanks. I remember the first go live I did, I was blinking like constantly. I was so nervous, it was hilarious. I was so glad that Dan was here with me. So sometimes what happens with our donkeys is that we didn't set them up well the day before. Before this, I was just kind of playing around on my phone and I saw this video of somebody, they're trying to teach this wild donkey to lead and they're pulling on the lead rope, sometimes straight ahead and sometimes like over where they're getting their neck turned so much that the only way for them to get that forward movement is because they're getting them off balance. And I used to do that also, guys. But what I've been learning over time is if we can give them like a really good deal, they say, oh, I get it. And remember, a donkey needs a really long time to think about it. You ask them a question, they're going to get back to you in 7 to 10 business days. So we offer them the good deal. We point our hand where we want them to go, where we want them to put their foot. And then we're going to wait. With a wild donkey, Ty says to count to like 5 seconds. I count to 10 with a truly wild one because often they're pretty darn nervous yet when I'm starting some of this stuff. So I'm giving them a lot of extra time so they clearly know what the good deal is. And then when I help encourage that, hopefully they start to take me up on that good deal where I'm not making contact. The other thing I notice is sometimes like I will have, say my little thing here. So like maybe I'll make some tension on it, right? Tension. But that tension is different. They can feel that. They can feel a fly land on them versus pulling, right? Where my shirt is actually pulling. There's a difference. So what I'm typically trying to do, and it's not that I'm perfect at this, but I'm trying just to maybe sometimes make that a little contact. Hello from Delta, Utah. Thanks for watching. So making contact is different than pulling, right? And our donkeys can feel it. If they can feel a fly land on them and then twitch their body to get that fly off, they know just when we pick up on the rein or the lead rope. So one of those scenarios that I see is that we're working with our donkey the day before without really matching where they're at mentally. So maybe they're more nervous today, or maybe they have more energy and they're not nervous, or maybe they're just like feeling kind of ho-hum. They have feelings just like people do. We ask them a question and they're not ready to answer yet. Remember, a donkey needs a lot of time to think. Now, instead of creating clarity for them, we accidentally start to create that tension, right? Where we could just pick up on the lead rope, but we start pulling on it. That tension doesn't always show up the right way, and that tension in the donkey is going to be stress. It's a steady pull, then slack shortly after. Absolutely, Banjo. That's right. And when we're watching how our donkeys are feeling, one thing that I've started to notice is this little area between their nose and their mouth, they'll start to get wrinkles in it before they get a parrot lip. Parrot lip is when this top lip is sticking out farther than the bottom lip, okay? So if I'm asking them a question, and it could just be, will you eat from my hand? And they start to get all those little wrinkles, they're starting to get tense. But if we don't notice how they're feeling, we don't notice to maybe lean away a little bit and say, oh, I see that you're nervous. The tension, it doesn't always show up right away, okay? It often can even show up the next day. So then suddenly the donkey feels like guarded. They're like, boy, last time I was with you, I really didn't feel that good. So from their perspective, nothing is making sense. Like maybe one time I'm offering a good deal and I'm putting the lead rope where I want, but then maybe the next time I'm in too big of a hurry and I start to pull. And they're like, well, you're not consistent at all. So now I don't trust you. Remember, we need to have connection and then cooperation. So that first thing that we're going to try to get is that connection. We want them to feel like they're safe with us. If Dan was going to take me into a haunted house, oh my gosh, he better not let go of my hand because I would scream and run. I'm a big baby. But if he brought me into that haunted house and held me really close to him the whole time, like I'd probably survive, right? But when I was a kid, we used to go to the state fair and I stood out of the haunted house. I was not going through that thing. No way. Now, if they don't trust that we're going to keep them safe or that we're going to be consistent with our questions, they're going to get more guarded. They're not going to want to be as close to you and they're going to pull away. Now, here's a very contrasting situation, right? So the first scenario, we're not being consistent. And the second scenario is something that actually happened at Hamilton, Montana, when we were there for the Ty Evans Clinic, and then we went to Mule Days. So we had with us a rescue donkey, and that donkey was attacked by a jack. He was out to pasture. Like, I don't know how much interaction he had with people, but he definitely did not trust people. So trust came very slow to him. So it's like a remodel project, right? And we had his first ride, and oh my gosh, he did so good. We started off in the big arena. We had Honk the Donk there with them. So he had another critter that he trusts, which is going to help build his confidence, right? If he didn't have 100% confidence with us by ourselves and we would have brought him there by ourselves, he still could have done it. But bringing Honk the Donk, it just gave him an extra layer of safety, okay? He did amazing to the point that Hannah, my daughter, was riding him, rode him out back to the camp where we were staying at, from the arena. So he did really good. And then the next day we went to go do a second ride on him. Now, the next day was Friday, so the clinic was over and Mule Days was starting, and there was trailer after trailer, mule after mule, and donkeys coming in. So there was a lot more commotion there, and guess what? We couldn't go into the same arena that we were in yesterday. So now we're in a new arena. There was a lot more going on. Steady light pressure, release at the first hint of a try. Now, I'm not always even using steady light pressure, okay? When I point the lead rope where I want them to go, I want there to be slack in it. That's going to be the good deal, okay? And then I will create that little bit of light pressure, and then I'm going to assist myself with like the flag, right? If I'm asking to move. So we're trying to get it done on a loose rein. But one thing that I've been learning doing this, and I'm doing the masterclass with Ty also, is sometimes I go into it thinking I need to keep a loose rein the whole time, and that's not the case because we do need to firm up a little bit to help them understand. Remember, we need to be communicating clearly, okay? So day 2, we're in the new arena, and there's a lot more commotion going on, and I was going to try to deliver a flyer for some donkeys that we had available, so I wasn't in the arena with Hannah. And Hannah, boy, she's got a sticky butt. She's a great rider, and she knows a lot about equine, but she's always had really good animals almost all the time. She got kicked before she ever got on them. And that was Atlas's go-to thing, is if he got really nervous, he would tell you that he's willing to kick you. So she got kicked before she got on him. And then I still wasn't in the arena yet. I was delivering the flyer. And then she got on and he bucked for a long time. I'm still not in the arena. And then when I got in there, he was done bucking and he was just trotting. He was tense. He was nervous. And I said to Hannah, go ahead and get off. There's no reason for us to try to force him to have a good ride because his mind's not there, right? So like ideally would be to get him to offer some kind of softness and then get off. I don't think I did that though. I just like, let's just get off, right? Because we want to be creating good experiences and he was so uptight and worked up. So that's a different scenario. The first one was where we're not offering consistency, and the second one has nothing to do with consistency from us. It was the environment all around us causing him to be uptight. Now, maybe, and I don't know for sure, maybe I would have recognized all the signs if I had been with Hannah with that second ride the whole time. Maybe I would have recognized the signs, or maybe I would have thought, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. But those little tiny signs that we see are telling us. And if he was kicking her before he got on, he wasn't in the mindset that he was a willing partner. He wasn't willing to cooperate at that point. So the connection and then cooperation, okay? And we've done more rides on him. He is in his forever home now, but we did do more rides on him and he was just fine. It was definitely the environment that triggered him. It was just too much. It was more than he could handle. If you guys have heard about trigger stacking before, you know, a new rider is already a little bit stressful, and then you take all the new mules and donkeys coming in, another arena, more noise. I mean, all the mores added up too much for him. And so it's not something to hold against him. It's just something to recognize and then do better next time. Now here is the interesting part. No, I already said that. I got my little script, right? So I can try to remember everything. Now I've also experienced this riding my horse. So Stormy, he's my good old boy. He's going to be next summer 26 years old. So I've had him for like 21 years. Now, when I first got Stormy, we didn't have any money 21 years ago. We were poor. I rode him everywhere bareback because I couldn't afford to go get a saddle for him. And he's a big boy. He's really broad. So I never had a saddle that fit him properly. And then my father-in-law gave me a saddle and we thought it fit just fine. Riding out in the mountains, steep mountains too, not hills like where we live. Where we live, it's more like foothills than it is mountains. So we're backcountry, deep in the mountains. And I would notice on the way home when we're coming down the mountain, he would start to get really, really crabby. But he's such a good boy. He's such a willing partner. I'm like, why are you getting so crabby? Like he would throw little baby bucks and kind of ant stomping, you know, or he would get upset. He kind of ant stomp with his front feet. He was, and chomping at the bit because he was upset. It turned out his saddle was pinching him. So now we have us not being consistent. We have the environment changing and being more than what they can handle, and then tack not fitting properly. So I did bring him to a saddle maker. I got a used saddle that the saddle maker made. It is so comfortable. And he doesn't do that anymore. So I was able to fix his discomfort, causing him, I don't think I want to use the word causing, helping him to stay cooperative, okay, a willing partner. So there's 3 scenarios, but we have more. Wait, there's more. Now with famous Shamus, I've had a unique experience with him. We got him, I think, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago now. I don't know exactly how long ago. And over the years, we've had many different kids riding him. We've had kids, sorry, gotta bug out dad duties. Catch the rest of the episode later. Your lessons here are clear and enjoyable. Thanks for joining us. So famous Shamus, he's had multiple different kids riding him, and some do a really good job at like offering him a good deal. And then other kids that he had riding him did not offer a good deal and maybe kind of kept in his face and caused problems that I had to fix, and I'm still fixing, right? So I gotta remember what I wrote down about this. Oh, I'm on the wrong topic. Shoot. Let's go. I know I got this one too. Oh, it is? Okay. Okay, so Shamus has had to work through a lot of mixed signals because the timing, consistency, and the how-to reward they were never the same, right? With all these different kids that have been riding them. And when we're not consistent with the donkeys, they protest. I was at a clinic with Shamus Ty Evans again, and every time I asked him to disengage or move with my spur, he would like flinch and kick his foot out. He didn't buck. We were standing still. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? It turned out he had become adverse to anything with the legs because of the kid stuff that was going on. So the kids not being consistent, I've worked through that part, and there's still more things that I am working through because I'm not super consistent with riding lately. That's one of my goals for next year, though. So having the kids be different, different consistencies, not giving a good deal is a big deal for these donkeys because they really like clarity. They like to have a purpose. So now going to my last example, guys, is arena versus trail. And I've noticed this with more than one donkey. So I go in the arena, and typically this is because I'm at a Thai clinic or doing a silly game. And the donkey is a little bit more lethargic. But then I go out on the trail and they're like, yay, let's go. I'm so happy. Now, my belief is it's because donkeys like purpose, and sometimes it's hard for us to be clear what the purpose is when we're in the arena. In the arena, they're often tolerating us because we're learning. We have our learning curve, our timing, our mistakes with timing, our delayed releases. Like even me, especially like, I think that I'm doing a good job releasing, but somebody that I respect is watching me and they're like, yeah, you're late, right? Speaking of that release of timing, I was coaching a kiddo who adopted one of our forever branded donkeys that we gentled. And I was watching in the video of what he did versus what I did. When I released, it was when the donkey was thinking about doing what I asked. When he released, it was like 1 second after the donkey started to do what he asked. And the donkey overreacted because of when his release came and ended up by turning away from him. He got himself into a kicking zone. And I was like, I wonder how much of a difference there was in the release of timing. It was nothing. It was a second. 1 second, and that donkey had already turned away from him. And when I'm getting it right, what I'm doing when I get it right is I'm releasing when they think about doing what I've asked. So thinking about doing what I've asked could be from being straight to just a slight angle. They're starting to think about it, release. When I'm good with my timing of the release, they always offer me better, almost always anyways, a better or a bigger try the next time. So when we're in the arena, they're dealing with all of our inconsistencies, our poor timing, and that. So they're paying attention to us because there's nothing else to focus on for them because it's not as fun as what might be over that next ridge, right? Or around that next bend or behind that tree. And then take time, take that same donkey onto the trail, and sometimes the same day, and suddenly they're engaged, willing, and moving out better. They're not being stubborn in the arena, guys. They're just asking, why are we doing this? Okay. Now, making sessions meaningful and fair, it matters especially for these donkeys. And they learn faster than us, guys. They need the repetition a few times. We need it a ton of times. I've trained a ton of donkeys and I still need a ton of repetition just to keep getting better. Now that's why we have the coaching, guys. With the coaching, we have many tiers. We have the basic tier, like a Burro Buddy. And everybody who signed up for the Burro Buddy, thank you. You guys are supporting what we're doing, helping us keep these Go Lives going and the videos that we make and coming up with more ideas to help that we put out for everybody so that they can have better relationships with their donkeys and donkeys can have better lives. Then we have ongoing tiers, some that are extra videos or like field guides where I'm trying to make really short videos that you can use when you're at the barn or out in the field with your donkey. And then we have coaching because sometimes it's hard for us to see what's right in front of our eyes. And I'm here to help you with that. Now, motivation. What are you guys doing for motivation right now? Do you have a Thanks for the great information. You are welcome. You're so welcome. So what are you doing for motivation right now? Do you have a buddy that you're hooking up with? Somebody that you're going out riding with? Is it coming on to these go lives, watching videos? Here is another one that I love. You guys know who my favorite author is? Mark Radshid, Finding the Missed Path. I love how Mark writes his books. It's like every chapter is another story about an animal that he works with. So every time you finish a chapter, you have another clear understanding every single chapter of like a lesson to learn. And this was a great book, The Art of Restarting Horses. Now, restarting a horse, mule or donkey, it takes more effort than it does starting a wild, guys. Because a wild doesn't have any opinions when they come to us. They have no opinions. But when we have poor timing and we're making mistakes and we don't do the best that we can to clear those up, then they start to have opinions about us. But we can work them through it. I do it with Shamus all the time, guys, because not only have like kids made mistakes or made life harder, I've made every mistake that I can with Shamus. Like, oh my gosh. I told my kids just to kick him to try to get him to lope. And you know what? It didn't work. I can get him to lope. Well, wait. Let's just be totally frank here. I've got him to lope once or twice. Okay, so keep watching. I got some exciting stuff going on for upcoming lives. I have somebody gonna come over who has adopted 3 of the donkeys that I have trained or gentled. So she's gonna come over and talk about what she's doing with them and her experience. I think we're gonna be meeting up with Reed in the saddle shop, talking about saddles. Because I don't know a ton, guys. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. And then packing. And tell me what other stuff that you guys want to talk about. Do you want more basic, how to get first touch and halter? Do you want more advanced stuff like navigating the mountains or trail riding, packing? What stuff do you want to hear? And tell me in the comments too what you're doing for motivation. Because that's a big part. Like, what kind of goals are you making for the upcoming year? Or for the rest of the month, right? All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sure glad you're showing up. I appreciate you guys so much and just think it's amazing. So many of you guys are watching, whether you're on the live or you're catching it on the replay. I appreciate you to the moon and back. Have a great day.